Hi, this is Pam from Heart of Texas. I want to show you a newer way. I don't know that it's newer, but it may be an easier way for you to assemble. This is the Photo Flip album to assemble the craft text onto the front and back. You're going to have 4 pieces, 2 pieces of craft text and 3 pieces. You have a 6 by 12 inch, 6 3/4 by 12 inch spine, front and back, and a 2 by 12 inch spine. And what I've done is to assemble the spine part, I have marked on here the center of it with just 1 inch, and then you can see that I have marked on the craft text in a white pen the center of that, which is, this is 4 inches wide, so this would be 2 inches wide, and I marked it down at the bottom on each one. So to get started on this, it's really simple to do. You just need to take your spine and apply the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive glue, the liquid glue. This tends to work better than score tape. Craft text doesn't react well with score tape for some reason. And then you're just going to put it on heavily, pretty heavily, because we don't really care if it runs out. We'll just wipe it up and continue on, but you want it to have a really good stick, and you're going to burnish it really well once we get this on. This is going to be the side that's obviously going to attach to the side that's up on your craft text. You just want to put it on and match up your edges, the top edge, and your bottom edge is going to be longer than this. This is just a scrap piece that I have. So you're going to put it on and center it up, and then just take a paper towel and wipe up the excess and give it a minute to set up. I'm trying to make sure I got it straight. That looks pretty straight. So once you have that on, then you can start to burnish it, and it's going to ooze out of the ends and the edges a little bit, and that's fine because we can just wipe it up. I don't score the craft text to mark it. We're going to use a marker or a ruler just to mark the groove or the end or the gutter that we're actually going to leave, so this book will open and close like it should. So we're going to wait a minute for that to dry, and I'm going to burnish some more. A baby wipe will work just fine. You just don't want to get the chipboard too wet. Craft text, it won't matter. And then I'm going to flip it over and pick whatever that was off and burnish on this side and wipe this off. So we just want to make sure that it's good and burnished on both sides, and that looks like it's fine. So normally I would probably wait a few more minutes for it to get, now we can cut this off now, or you can cut it off once we get all this on here, because it's going to be long either way, and you can just cut it with your Tim Holtz scissors. Now what we want to do is take either piece, front or back, it doesn't matter at this point, and we're going to space it the length. You can either use a Tim Holtz ruler, which is about the 1/8 inch gutter in here that we're looking for, and line it up straight and just butt it up against this and make sure your edges are together like so. Let me see if you can see, if I can zoom in and you can see it a little better. You can see that I'm just putting in there and I'm butting it up against. Hold your ruler up straight, and then when you take it out, you have a space in between this. And then what I do is just take my pencil and draw a line along this side right here. And you can see maybe that there's a line right in here. It's from here to here. I should have done it in white so you could see it. Let me try that again and see if I can get it to go in white so you can see where it is. This is a thicker pen, so I'm going to get a thicker line. but you can see it. And so now you can see there's just a small gap there. So you want to do the same thing on the other side and put your spacer in, hold it up straight, and butt it up against it so that everything is nice and straight. Then once you pull that out, just once again draw your line right through here. And it doesn't have to be a perfect show of line, just enough so that you can see what you're going to do. So now we have these two lines right here that are going to allow for the spacing so that the gutter, so that these will close. And what you want to do now is just simply put your craft text, and I'm not going to go below this space. Let me see if you can go back out. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with craft text with the adhesive on the craft text, and I'm not going to go over this gutter line. It's going to go all the way down and across and back up. This is what's going to hold your book together, so the better it is glued, the more stable your book's going to go. So then you're going to take this and you're going to put it right, line up your top edges, and just so that line can show. And if you don't want that line to show, if this was in real life, you can just go with this with a marker, a black Sharpie, and it will. I'm going to butt this up and make sure these are straight. And then I'm going to go back and burnish this one. Now any glue that oozes out into this gutter, you want to take it out. I'm not too worried about the rest of it. And on the back side, or on the front side of it, once this dries just a little, let it set up. And I just do one side at a time, because then once I'm going to start turning it, it's a little bit easier to just do one side at a time. And once this is going to set up pretty quick, not as quick as it would if it's paper, because it takes it just a little bit longer, it seems to adhere. Then I'm going to flip it over and make sure. This is not going to matter much, because with the glue coming out, because we're going to cover it, it'll cover up to that seam or over it. And then just continue on. And just make sure you burnish it really good. You can use a roller if you want to, and I feel like I can do it harder with my hand with this bone folder. So there's that, and nothing came out of here, so we're pretty good. And so now I'm going to do the other side the same way, and just start here. You want this to be pretty thick with glue, because you don't want it coming off, especially these corners. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Right now it doesn't matter which side's up or down, because it's just a side. And put this here and this here, and make sure they're centered. Needs to come over just to here. Pull it up. So I want to see this white line. I want you to see that it's over on it. over. And looks like we're going to get rain from the Hurricane Bill or Bob or whatever his name is that's coming in. 10 inches of rain to go with the 18 to 20 we got in May, and everything flooded, so we'll see what happens with that. And the humidity is about 800%. But we do need the rain, so I'm not going to complain. Now we're just going to let that dry, and once it gets dry, I'm going to cut off the edges of this that's too long and let it dry for a minute. And if you didn't get it exactly straight, you can just file the edges off. It files well with the Prima sander or whatever you have to do it with. It'll work fine.
Excuse me, there is a message for you.
Okay, I'm going to let it dry, and then we'll be back and I'll put the other side on. Okay, now that this has had some time to dry, and I cut that edge off with an X-Acto knife and on a glass mat, then we're just going to kind of score this, run this down a little bit, and gently bend these centers up. So you're going to take a pen and just work your chipboard so that you can, in your craft text, so that it will get used to this. The same with this side. And then so now these, you know that these are going to close well because of the spacer that you left in between. Now to put the top piece of craft text on, it's basically the same thing. You're going to just center, put the glue onto the spine, chipboard spine, and then just center this on it like this. We're not going to glue these down yet, but we're going to glue the spine down. So it's the same process. You're just going to put glue on it. The reason we're not doing it all at once is so we can make sure that no glue gets down in the gutter and it doesn't cause it not to work right. Okay. So once again, I've marked the center, which is 2 inches, and I didn't mark 2 inches on this one because I cut it off. Let me see. Right here, and it's right about here and right here. So I'm going to make sure this is down good. This one's a little short. I got carried away with my cutting down the end, but I think I can just put a Sharpie over it and it'll be okay. It's just a sample. I'm just not going to make anything out of it. I'll just go in the trash. So that's why it's always better to measure twice. Cut once. So now we want to make sure that there's nothing, just a little bit going down in there. We want to get it up on that side and on this side. There's some that look like it's getting very much glue. I'm going to put a little bit more on here. Get another baby wipe. put the sides down. And at this point, you don't want to bend your craft text, maybe just a hair to kind of see where it's going to go, because it'll bend okay. We have enough space left between it to do that. So I'm going to measure how far out I want to go on my craft text so I don't go too far. So I'm going to pull this up and just go down the end of this right here. And do it. I'm really a messy gluer. I don't know how some people do it so well. I end up with it all over my fingers and everything. Really messy. Maybe if I wipe my fingers off, that would be smarter. Wipe the glue off of this. Alright. Same with this one. We're just going to glue this one down. The rain's coming back. Really rained about an inch and a half last night. It rained this morning. The lakes are full. So we'll let this dry a little bit. Just don't want to get your chipboard too wet. And I like paper towels too. So once this gets dry, then we will close it up or let it dry, and then we'll bend the spine. Okay, it's dry, and I took my bone folder and I just ran it down this crease that's right in here to kind of bend the gutter part and make it a little easier to work with, and then just gently fold it over and burnish this so that it's going to become pliable. And the same on this side. I went down with this and up, and I just did this. And once you start assembling it and you have it together, it will obviously become more and more pliable once you open it. But this is what it looks like. I think it's easier to understand how to assemble. There's no scoring. We just fold and put it on. And there we go. This is your inside, and obviously this is your back. I'm really forgetful about which is my front and my back, so usually I will take a pencil and write front and the inside front. So I know which way is going to be up when I start decorating, because it's really not fun when you put it on backwards or upside down, and I've so done that. So this is the new trick, and I hope you enjoy our photo flip album. Thanks, and have a good day.